debate, where we go now to a question for Vice President Kamala Harris. Are you excited for tonight's episode of the Discerning Gamer podcast?
Tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook.
I don't think really tired. We have to keep it pretty fresh. I mean,
a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling.
Well, I suppose we have gone pretty hard on Ubisoft in recent weeks. Question for you, former President Trump. I understand you've been fairly vocal about your opinions of Casey C-Mac-Laughlin in the media. What can you tell us about
She's
that?
a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well.
I'm not sure where all this Marxist talk is coming from. She's a pretty good podcast host.
Probably the worst in our nation's history.
Well, all right, let's focus on President Harris. Now, I've heard you've had some nice things to say about Steel Meister, one of our other podcast hosts.
This century,
And you described it as leaving you feeling like
the Great Depression.
what can you tell us about our other host, Fergus Fergamon? Clearly, you've got some nice things to say about him.
And remember this, she is the worst we've
Let's move over to another topic, one of our favourites on the show, Ubisoft, and in fact their chief executive, Yves Guillemot. Now, Vice President Harris, you've said that Yves Guillemot should be
Fired by 81 million people. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
people, but former President Trump, your views on Yves Guillemot?
and they threw him out of office.
Well, he's got some loyal supporters. The Hot Tour girl seemed to have a lot of support for him the other week.
And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He execution after birth. It's an execution.
Well, that's a bit extreme. I mean, Ubisoft is popular, but
There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country.
well, Ubisoft were very well received when they paid a visit recently to Springfield, Ohio.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
And I think we'll leave it.
Welcome to the Discerning Gamer podcast, your premium destination for all things gaming. The latest in gaming news, reviews of the hottest new discussion and analysis of the games of yesteryear. When you're short on time and need your gaming fix, look no further than the crew who know their Master Chief from their Master Sword. I love Halo. Your hosts, Joel, Simon, Casey, and Ferg. Toss a coin to your Witcher and answer that Call of Duty. It's time to level up. This is the Discerning Gamer podcast.
Yes, as Harry Mason searches for his missing adopted daughter in the mysterious New England town of Silent Hill, he stumbles upon a cult conducting a ritual to revive the deity it worships. Harry discovers his daughter's true origin, the Discerning Gamer podcast. I am your host, Joel JB Fury Beauchesne, and with us this week, as always, are the DG crew, starting with the Prince of Pre-Orders, the Sultan of Steam. He searches for his deceased wife in Silent Hill after receiving a letter from her informing him that she is waiting for him there. After searching and exploring the mysterious town, he ultimately realizes the true nature of her death. It's Fergamon Hamilton. And sorry, I'm a bit lax on the old applause there.
Hey, JB, I can wait. How are you, mate?
Yeah. I'd be going a lot better if my microphone wasn't completely blaring out the room, but we've got there.
You're not blaring out the room. You're sounding sexy.
Oh well, thank you.
Wow, that wasn't.
Also with us, the gaming chef, the Earl of Emotional Damage, a resident of the South Ashfield Heights apartments building in the fictitious town of Ashfield. He is an average man who has been described by Konami as an introvert in his late 20s. For the most part, he works alone, although he eventually teams up with his neighbour, Eileen Galvin. It's Simon, Steely, McLaughlin. Welcome
Yeah.
to the show. Steely.
Thanks, Joel. Yeah, thanks, Joel. Me and Eileen, we go way back. Way back.
Hey.
Well, you know what I want to actually just before we move on, Joel, I want to just I need to bring this up. What's the name of the apartment buildings?
The Ashfield Heights.
Ashford Heights. That's right. Ashford Heights apartment building strata are a bunch of fucks. I've been waiting for my tap to get fixed for 3 weeks, and they keep not fixing it. Bullshit.
Okay, well,
I'm moving out.
then
Emotional damage.
I am a very average man.
he's dishing it out early, and an introvert in your late 20s, apparently.
Oh, yeah, I'll take it.
And last but certainly not least, the Nintendo Queen, Pistol, Pisty, Pete, the Pissed. A teenager who awakens from a nightmare in a shopping mall and tries to return home to her father while navigating environments that oscillate between reality and the other world, a bloodier supernatural version of it. It's, of course, Casey C-Mac McLaughlin.
Yes. Thanks for having me, everyone. And no, I haven't watched The Matrix, so get off my back.
No, get on it.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
If you're a,
We're talking top 10 movies of all time. Matrix.
I just
Voted.
I don't understand.
We should probably address the elephant in the room that you have been getting a little bit of hate during the week. For the fact that, you,
What's it on?
Haven't watched The Matrix, and proudly so.
We spent a whole night this week watching some new show on Netflix
My
called
God.
Nobody Wants This.
So good with Adam Brody and
Looks
Kristen
like
Bell.
somebody wants
It's
it.
amazing.
This gal over here
So good. All right.
doesn't
All
want
right.
The Matrix.
Here we go. I will watch The Matrix by the 23rd of October. Do you know why?
Halala, why?
Because it's on Stan, and I cancelled my Stan yesterday, and I've got until the 23rd to watch Stan. So
Right.
23rd is the due date, and then I will talk
We're
about
going to
it.
watch it this weekend, guys, but only number
23rd
one.
doesn't have to be this weekend.
I'm not wasting my time on number 2 and number 3.
Is that true?
Well, this can only go fucking well.
Stay tuned for C-Mac's review of The Matrix.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I'd like
The
to-
Discerning Film Critic Podcast.
How many discerning gamers out of 10 we get for that one?
Yeah.
We'll find
Well,
out.
let's kick things off the way we usually do. Fergus, Fergamon, Hamilton, what have you been playing this week?
This week, well, as you are well aware, the Lucky Squire's in the naughty corner at the moment.
Ooh.
For my game-breaking bug that I came across in Chapter 6 sort of made me... and I will get back to it, but I'm playing something new. Or something that a new
Ooh.
game that's come out in the last 2 weeks. I'm playing Warhammer 40k
Oh, okay.
Space Marine 2.
How mystical.
Wow, that's
Oh, it's the unmistakable Warhammer theme.
Yeah.
in the background there.
Yeah.
soundboard has been run by AI tonight.
Yeah.
Love that.
Any
Yeah.
excuse. Yeah, Space Marine 2. Cover your ears if you're under, I don't know, 13.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a
Ah,
bridge.
I'm under 13. Nah, fuck off.
Cover your ears. This game is fucking badass. This is
Wow. Okay.
I'm having so much fun playing this game, and it is really just taking me for an absolute trip. I haven't played heaps, to be honest. I think I played 5-6 hours or something, and fuck me, this game is unbelievable. I'm just absolutely loving it.
I don't think I've ever heard quite an expletive
I
laden rant from Fergus Fergamon
I know,
Hamilton
I haven't-
before. on the
for a
show.
good reason.
Yeah, I don't think I've been excited over a game like this for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh!
So Space Marine 2, obviously it's in the name. You play as a Space Marine who is named Titus, and the Space Marine, if you're not familiar, is basically a character or a type, I suppose, in the 40k universe. Think power armor from the Fallout universe. You basically play as this 8-foot tall human in this mech suit, and you are a killing machine. you're just a fucking absolute tank.
Right.
And I just love that about this game. Like, it's very slow paced. You're not sort of running around and dodging, and you're literally just trudging around at a pretty slow pace. You're armed to the teeth with all sorts of weapons, including what I think is one of the greatest weapons I've ever seen in a video game, the chain sword.
Chainsaw.
So it's a chainsaw and a sword smashed together. So it's like a big long sword, and it's got a rotating blade. And
Yeah.
tell you what, there is nothing more satisfying than watching a horde of aliens run at you and one jump up and you time the perfect parry with your sword and just cut this thing in half, and the screen's full of blood and limbs flying everywhere, and it's gory. It's incredible. Fantastic melee. The shooting's not too bad. It's not as fun as the melee side of things, but just the aesthetic of this game is insane. The visuals of the game are incredible. It's gorgeous. Like, there's so many times where I've stopped in the area that I'm in just to have a look at what's happening in the distance, basically. So early on in the game, you basically rock up at a planet that's getting invaded. So you can see the invasion happening in the background, and there's ships flying around and aliens running across hills. And there's so many times I've just stopped to have a look around and just take it all in. It's sensational. Like I mentioned, you're this big stocky killing machine, and there's so many fantastic points in the game where you'll have an objective like defend this spot, and you'll sit there and just hordes of enemies are just running at you, and you're just lining them up with your chainsaw and just going to absolute town. It's so cool to see like hundreds of enemies just running at you and then just being in your face, and you just cutting and slicing and dice through them. As far as the universe, like the 40k universe, I'm a complete novice. Never played any of the games, never have gotten involved with the tabletop, any of the lore. It is all brand new to me. And playing this game, like, I don't think I've played a game where as soon as I put it down, I've been excited to find more out about the lore around the game. Like, who's this character? What's his story? What's it all about? I think every night since I've had this game, I've sat in bed on YouTube just watching lore videos, just picking like the pieces of this sci-fi universe. And I don't know what it is. It's just something like, it's basically in the future sci-fi, but it's just such a dark sort of outline of the story. Like, it's war, like all day, every day. There's no peace. There's no days off. Every day is just a fight for survival, and it's just unrelenting, like the story of this universe. And it's just pulled me in, hook, line, and sinker. Like, just absolutely captivating to be like, you know, wanting to learn about the character outside of the game itself. I think, yeah, they do a really good job of sort of showing off that universe in a video game. I think it's fantastic. As far as how it plays, it reminds me a lot of the sort of Xbox 360 era of games. I think Halo, Gears of War, it's very much like cutscene, fly to a planet, go to an area, do an objective, dialogue, next area, dialogue, cutscene, end of the mission. And it's very much like, you know, they're separated by, you go up an elevator or you open a door. Something that we've seen like all the time in games from that time period. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's just a nice sort of reminiscence to how some of those great games, especially like the Halo, sort of ran in the past. Great cutscenes, always big fan of cutscenes. Think like Blizzard type cutscenes, fantastic. The voice acting is really good. The guy who worked with Titus is sort of the character who played Clive Standen, I think the name is fantastic. There's sort of the campaign. Another thing I thought was quite good, you've got your campaign, you've got like PvE sort of co-op missions that you do to the side called operations, and then there's a PvP, which are a mode which I haven't played. But the operations are set, typically with a lot of games, you'll get they're just sort of tacked onto the side, and you just play with someone, and they're just pretty novel missions, you know, dependent area. These ones are actually threaded in with the story of the campaign. So you'll play the campaign as the main character, and you might go to this planet and extract this guy and his whatever. And then the operation to the side, which you can play, is sort of like, this is the other sort of group of space marines that were on the planet at the same time. So what was happening over here in the main story, this was also happening. And that's how they've sort of threaded the operations in, which I think is quite clever rather than just makes them a bit more meaningful. I think criticisms of other games. They're just like sort of attached on the side and they're pretty novel, but sort of feels like you're still partaking in some part of the overall story of the universe. I think that was a really cool way. But yeah,
kind of reminds me a little bit of the video game Enter the Matrix when that came out, because that came out around the same time as the Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, and the events in the game were following the path of another like group of like humans that were sort of out and about doing stuff at the same time, and but the story that was going on in the movies and the story going on in the game was sort of happening in parallel, and I really liked that.
So did I. And the game does a good way of sort of introducing that, like within the campaign. Sort of shows off there's a bit of a hub area, and it's sort of like, we'll go on the ship to do the next mission. By the way, this is the operation center for playing these operations, and this is how it fits in with the main sort of story. And I just thought that was really well done. But look, overall, I'm just having so much fun. It's so refreshing to play as a character who is like dominant from the start. Like, there's no, you don't gain strength as you go along. You start day one. You're just this killing machine, and the tools that you have at your disposal, being better weapons, is how you get variance and getting stronger. But you just go out there, and I don't know what it is. You're playing a game where there's just enemies just running at you, and you have zero fear. You're not wanting to cower or pick people off from a distance. You're just standing there and you just like, bring it on. So you get your chainsaw and you just start slaughtering everyone. There's some insane finishes. You have like some of the stronger enemies. You basically get them down to a certain amount of point, and then you get to finish them. And it's like unbelievable finishes of just like ramming your chainsaw up this dude's like all the way through him, cutting him in half. And the mechanic is, if you execute one of these finishes, you get one of your armor bars back.
Okay.
Which is kind of a cool thing as well. So by basically, being a badass, you get armor back throughout the mission.
Ramming your chainsaw up someone's asshole.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Bang.
I just love it. Like, I had a similar feeling watching a movie like John Wick with Keanu Reeves, and he's sort of this retired hitman, and then someone comes and, spoiler alert, kills his dog, and he's just like, "You're all fucked. You're all in trouble." And you're just like, "Yeah, that's awesome." And you play as this character who just goes out there and is just on a mission to do nothing but just absolutely wreck everything in his way.
Ultimate damage.
Oh, it's the best. Blood, gut, gore.
I mean, how does it compare to like a Helldivers 2? Because I know like there's like, from what I'm hearing, there seems to be some similarities there where you're dropped on a planet and you've got waves of aliens coming at you and you've got to sort of fight them off. Is it fairly similar to Helldivers, or is it a little bit different? Like,
yeah, I suppose the biggest difference is Helldivers is sort of like an online, live service game. The missions go for, say 30 minutes, where you're basically moving from one spot to the other. This is very much like a stand and deliver. You go into an area, you clear them out, you go to the next area, you clear them out, you catch your breath, kind of thing. Helldivers is a bit more, it's not sort of segmented like that. That's sort of like an open breathing world where you just walk around and stumble across these things. These are more like that old school corridor type stuff where you go to an area, there's an objective, might be defender, might be do this, might be do that. And some of them are quite interesting. But yeah, just my two favourite games, I think, so far in 2024 are Helldivers 2 and Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
And they've both got similarities, but they're very different. But I just love that ability to just go and just absolutely wreck everyone. It's great.
No, I love that. Well, I was going to throw over to you next, Steely, to say what have you been playing this week? What has been on rotation at Chateau Mac?
So we're still making our way slowly through Echoes of Wisdom, and I've been playing in the Gerudo Desert this week, and I play in the Gerudo Desert most weeks, but frothing over it, love it. It's so much fun. What I really like now, yeah, absolutely. What I like now that I've been spending more time with the game is how, a little bit different to what Ferg said with the Space Marine thing, some of the side missions of this game kind of feel a little bit in any other game it would feel pointless, but the cool thing about how they're distributed through the game is to basically encourage you to explore and find other things to copy and to create echoes out of. And so I find that to be really fun because it makes you kind of go, I mean, I found a spot just haphazardly, very Tears of the Kingdom way. I just climbed up a building using tables and a bed, as you do. And I found some cave, and then I had to go back to the cave to go and make an echo out of these floating tiles. And anybody that's played like an old school 2D top-down Zelda game, you'll know that there's these floating tiles in some dungeons that get up and they spin around and they fly at you like a what are they called? Like a floating tile, like a frisbee. I was going to say a flying disc, but it's a frisbee. And so I had to go back and get one of those. And there's heaps of personality within it, and I find that with some of the puzzles now, I mean, there's a mission that I was doing that was in the Gerudo Desert to unlock the actual main area that I need to get to. And I found at times it was kind of a little bit hard to know where I was going because it gave me multiple areas to go and I could choose where I wanted to go. And so, but having said that, it didn't bother me one iota. It was just like, it's a very Zelda thing to do. I've got to go and find my own way. Very limited hand holding, which I like. It's not like that little try thing that's following you around. She doesn't pop up every 2 seconds going, "Hey Zelda, you stupid bitch, why don't you go over here?" Which I really like, because that would just make it extremely frustrating, and even more frustrating when you're not figuring out where to go because somebody's constantly trying to give you the answer. So very much like it. It's great. I can't wait to keep playing more of it, and I don't have much else to say about it. Casey is just over making sure that baby Audrey is not shitting the bed over there, which she's going to go into her now, as you can see. But that's pretty much what we've been doing aside from watching that fucking show on Netflix that Casey wanted to watch. And I just said, look, let's just Steam fuck this and go as hard as we can and watch the whole thing. And then that way we can get back to brass tacks, buddy, which is doing the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom thing. So that's what's been playing in my house at the moment. Tell me, Joel, what have you been playing, you big fucker?
Well, all right, that's
Emotional damage.
Nah, like in a lovely way, like in a you big fucker. What have you been playing? You big.
sound any better when you say it the second time.
Yeah.
All right.
Pisser?
Yeah. So, still Astrobot.
Yes.
And, I've now found all 300 bots in the game and every puzzle piece in the game. And
Platinum this bad boy.
well, yeah, maybe. I've got through to the final boss and defeated him, and now more areas have opened up.
Yeah, final boss.
Yeah, exactly.
This is true Mario style. This is if you've played any of the most recent Mario games. Sorry to interject, but that's exactly it. You finish the final boss and then the game begins. And I love that shit. That's the shit that gets me fucking hot to trot.
Well, you get like a twofold thing. Like, you cannot get to the new area if you haven't found every puzzle piece and every bot, because it wants you to unlock two things that you need the bots and the puzzle pieces for, and then you can run up to this new area and get into it. And it's an extension of like the X, circle, square, triangle levels, like, so those really fucked levels that are super hard. Now it's like, oh, here's the ultimate one of those, and it throws that out there. And I started attempting it, and I was just getting my ass handed to me time and time again. It's fucking hard, really, really hard. So for anyone out there who thinks that Astrobot's going to be a walk in the park, when you get to those challenge levels, man, it's really tough.
Tell me, Joel, have you played Cuphead?
Cuphead was ruined 20 years ago. Never played Mario. So anyway, like, I think I'm getting to the pointy end of the stick. And once I'm done with that, then I'm going to jump back over to the Plucky Squire, which I noticed today had several patches that came out for it. So I wonder whether the game-breaking bug that you've experienced with the mushroom bombs has been patched.
Yeah, well, maybe
out of the game. So
fingers crossed.
Hopefully they don't go down the Star Wars Outlaws path and make all of your save games invalid after patching the
we'll see
thing there. But
we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Well, on that note, let's throw over to you, Steely, for this week's news line.
Oh, fuck! News! Wow, the foot bone's connected to the shin bone! The shin bone's connected to the knee bone! No relation, however, to Noviparous knee bone.
Okay.
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Well, I didn't see this coming. Fntastic! The scam artists behind The Day Before are back, baby! And it's not to start a Kickstarter campaign to afford the letter A, but for a new game. Can you even believe it? Escape Factory is supposedly a physics-based multiplayer co-op game about escaping factories. Well, there you have it. A demo for this game is already available on Steam, with their Kickstarter campaign still requiring roughly $13,000 in pledges. The brothers have noted that if they don't make their $15,000 goal, the Fntastic won't be able to make a comeback. So their plea to consumers is that they have overnight changed their ways of lying about products to make sales and are now going to be more honest about the game they are creating. Personally, I think it would be fantastic for these fucks to fuck off and drink a cup of piss. So there you go. Fuck
I mean, to make a comeback, it kind of implies that they made it at some point in the past. But
I know. They're just
yet
coming back to scam more people. Fucking wankers.
do it.
Well, 343 Studios released some huge news this week surrounding Halo and the future of the franchise, whilst also changing their name to Halo Studios. In an update that includes a third-person mode for Halo Infinite, the team also mentioned their future games would be made in UE5, Unreal Engine 5 for those of you playing at home, and gave consumers a taste of what that would look like. And the internet has been so unkind, with one comment stating it looks like Halo done by Robot Chicken. But still, big news for a much-loved franchise, with Infinite taking home an 87 on Metacritic. So, whoa, Unreal Engine 5 for Halo, ladies and gentlemen.
Love that.
Yeah, it's been 84... Wow. It's been 84 years since the release of Red Dead Redemption, and I can still smell the fresh paint because it's been released again! This time for Ferg's favourite platform, the PC Master Race. That's right. Double 11 is porting over the classic Rockstar title, including its Undead Nightmare DLC on October 29th, with all the bells and whistles that come with PC versions of games like 4K resolution, AI upscaling, and HDR10 support. You can hog tie this game from the Epic Game Store, Steam, or the Rockstar Store. Rockstar, wow. Well, the end is truly inevitable for Ubisoft at this point, with stock prices plummeting and talks of them going bust. However, the news this week is about Chinese mega publisher Tencent, that's one more cent than 9 cent, being in talks with the Guillemot family. We've been saying it wrong, Joel. It's Guillemot, not Gilmont. So it's, Guillemot. But with the Guillemot... I don't really think he earns any of the respect to actually say his name properly. He's a fuck. but I'm going to do it anyway. The Guillemot family to purchase Ubisoft. Yes, the company that owns Unreal and Fortnite are said to be in discussions to pick up French developer Ubisoft. The main reason being because, well, if we own the company, the games will have a reason to be of such poor quality because they will be made in China.
Wow.
Which
Just thrown all of our Chinese listeners.
I don't think we have any of them. Which can't actually be said for the rest of Tencent's history, but why not start here? These talks, as discussed, come amid a 40% stock decrease, a delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows, and the underperforming Star Wars Outlaws. What do you think at home? Would you like to see Ezio in Fortnite? Do you think Tencent will go through with a $2.99 buyout? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, I thought that was funnier than it was. $2.99 because Ubisoft is worth nothing. Anyway, I thought it was a lot better than it was. Sorry, I was expecting a bit more of a laugh from that. From that, I thought you'd find it a bit more funny. Thanks, Ferg. It's been found to be in the bloodstream of many American citizens because of the amount of herbicides used in the cropping industry. It's time for this week's review roundup. That was a long stretch. With the following scores for the following games: Metaphor Ari Fntastic coming in hot at 94. Silent Hill 2, again, getting loud on 87. Zelda Echoes of Wisdom experienced on 86. Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred not hated at 85. Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero is sparkling on 83. Until Dawn, again, close to killing it on 76. Starfield Shattered Space didn't shatter any expectations on 58. Showing it's not too... Yeah. Showing it's not too late in the year to get some high-scoring games to prove to Bethesda fans that Todd Howard needs to just fucking stop making fucking games, man. And that's your news for this week.
But if you close your
News! This week brought to you by Jean-Claude Van Damme, Jackie Chan, and Vin Diesel's cat, Jean-Claude Van Chan Diesel III. Anyway, that's the news.
It's interesting. It did pique my interest. Like when Ubisoft's share price started tanking the way that it did off the back of a series of what can only be described as epic failures with Skull and Bones, and I mean, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was in amongst that, wasn't there? And then
it's gone back a few. Yeah, sorry, it wasn't Odyssey. I think it was Mirage. Was that the
Mirage?
Assassin's Creed?
Mirage.
And then, of course, capping things off with the abortion that was Star Wars Outlaws. I mean, the share price has just been going down and down and down, and it was only a matter of time before one of the big game publishers came sniffing around their door to see if they could acquire the company in the same way that happened to Activision Blizzard once all the rumors of people doing bad things to one another in the workplace started to circulate, and share prices took a tumble.
Buy low, sell high.
Absolutely. But we've just had a comment here on stream, so it just says here, sorry I missed replying to Steely's Ubisoft zinger. The mention of Ubisoft reminded me I need to pinch off a turd. Thank you to that mysterious streamer. That's fantastic.
That visual is not fun.
I will help you pinch the turd off.
Okay.
If it means it goes down the drain and out to sea and never to be seen again.
So it's only a matter of time before someone decides to pick up Ubisoft at a relatively large discount. Obviously, Tencent is in the mix. Are there any others that you think might be in the mix, Fergus Fergamon Hamilton?
Microsoft have bought everyone, so chuck their name in the ring. They're going to go for world domination, just buy everyone.
Do you think Microsoft have got the required finance in the bank after spending whatever it was, $70 billion on Activision Blizzard? Or
Probably. I think Microsoft are still turning a pretty penny every year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They got fairly deep pockets.
Yeah. How about this to spin the question? Would any of us have confidence in investing in Ubisoft at the bottom of the barrel? Do you think whoever, whether it's Ubisoft themselves or someone coming in to acquire them, do you think they can turn that IP around?
I think that the IP is still pretty sound, but I think that their execution of it has been poor. Like, I think you've seen a gradual degradation in quality over a long period of time, and I don't know whether it's a particular game director or a particular manager within the company that's been sort of overseeing this decline.
Starts at the top, Joel.
Well, the fish does rot from the head, as they say, Steely. So, I mean, can all the blame be laid squarely at the feet of Yves Guillemot? So, I think we did talk about it on the last episode that he was blaming gamers for the poor performance of Star Wars Outlaws, claiming that it's gamers who have set their expectations far too high compared to what their output is. And, I think it's safe to say that's a bit of a cop-out, saying that, just because they can't do their games as well as their competitors can, that somehow that's the gamer's fault.
Yeah, someone else's fault.
So how about they take a bit of responsibility for the shite that they're selling to us at, massively exorbitant prices for digital deluxe editions and so forth.
That's it.
Yeah. Not going well for poor Ubisoft. And to answer Ferg's question, I did shake my head rapidly when he said, would you invest? I wouldn't invest in this current state of Ubisoft. I think if I was to ever invest in the company, or and by invest, I wouldn't necessarily mean like buy shares, but to buy back into any of their games, it would have to be under a different ownership. Complete different ownership, away from the Guillemot family, because from, like you said, the fish rots from the head, and I think that it significantly is. I think a lot of the issues that are at Ubisoft stem from the top, and from a lot of there's been a lot of allegations over the years of a lot of misconduct and toxic work environments and all the rest of it, and I just don't think that in its current state it has much life left in it. I'd love to see it picked up from a more competent studio, much like what we talked about last week with what if PlayStation bought them, and there's all these what ifs. I don't think if they went into the hands of Microsoft that it would necessarily go well, because they'd buy the company and then just put everything on ice for 40 years and be like, you'd get to PlayStation 95 when Microsoft doesn't make a console anymore, and they say, oh, you guys want a drink? It's like it's been on ice for that long. Like, surely there's no carbonation left in that fucking drink anymore, Microsoft. And so, to answer your question, if Tencent was to buy the company, I think they might have a chance at actually making something out of it. And they could even revive things like Skull and Bones and probably do it well, considering they're quite good at live services as far as their developers are, at least. But I think that if Tencent was to pick it up, I'd almost be tempted to buy the next in the franchise, whatever it might be, and obviously that would be for some years, because we don't know when this acquisition is going to take place, if at all. But interesting times for Ubi. Fucking kidding me, bruv?
Yeah, and I don't see a Sony acquisition happening here, because I think if you look at all the studios that Sony has acquired over the years, they've tended to be studios that have had very, very big hits. Like Sony's always acquired studios on a high, and then there's studios that are able to keep themselves going in their own right, so they've acquired Guerrilla, but Guerrilla is still doing their own thing. They've acquired Naughty Dog, but Naughty Dog are still doing their own thing. They're not studios that need propping up or need a helping hand. I'd say if Tencent don't buy them, I'd be inclined to think maybe an Embracer group or somewhere like that might scoop them up and potentially farm out the IP to different studios to work on or something of that nature. But maybe Microsoft. I mean, they like buying broken things and then keeping them broken.
I don't know. Whatever happens, I think we mentioned last one. They just need to shake up. They got some really good IP, but it's just been a bit stale for way too long. I think that's where, things are going south for them because they're just pumping out the same thing every year. And I don't know, maybe once upon a time when gamers didn't have expectations on what a great game looked like, it might have been alright. But again, there's so many good games out there. Everyone's time poor. Can't buy them all, so you're going to pick the better ones. And now in the day of social media, there's very much like a push for what's getting promoted online, what the flavor of the month is. Everyone seems to, run to a game, choke it to death for a few months, then they go on to the next thing, and gamers are just sort of bouncing around. So, if you put out a game that's not getting caught up in that, or it's getting left in the shadow of something else, then it's really tough.
Well, on that note, let's throw to this week's novelty segment.
I know what boys like. I know what guys want. I know what boys like. Boys like. Boys like me.
And this week we're asking the question, what is your favourite game that uses a day-night cycle? So this is the concept of the game world going through a transition from daytime to nighttime, and maybe a different world becoming available to explore at night versus day. Fergus Fergamon Hamilton, lead the way. What is your favourite game with a day-night cycle?
Look, there's a few I could have chucked out there, but I wanted to talk about a little game. It's not a little game. It's one of the biggest games in the history of video games, and that is none other than Minecraft.
Ah la la!
What just a fantastic game. And it's not just day and night, it's light and dark. So anyone that's played Minecraft before, sun comes up, everything's all sweet, sun goes down, out come all the enemies. You go in a cave that's dark, regardless if it's daytime, there's danger. So it's not just night and day, it's light and dark. And yeah, I mean, what do I need to say about Minecraft? It's just one of the sort of greatest games ever for a myriad of reasons, but it's just the limitless possibilities that you have to enjoy this open world sandbox game. And I reckon if you were going to ask me to come up with a list of maybe the greatest games of all time, some of the things that I'd be measuring a game against would be things such as gameplay. Minecraft gameplay is fantastic.
Yep. Checks out.
You know, I'm a big fan of value for money and replayability, so getting value for money out of a game.
Yeah,
Minecraft, tick. It's not an expensive game. You can get as many hours out of it as you want. Great soundtrack. Absolute bops. As far as another one is availability, so Minecraft is available all consoles, mobile. There's no exclusiveness to it these days. So wherever you are at any given point in time, it's really easy, I should say, to get your hands on this game and play it. So ticks there. If you want to look at, say, popularity, as far as copies of games sold, it's up there. I don't know if it's number one. I don't know what the most, it'd be up there somewhere. The versatility of a game. So whether playing it by yourself, playing with one person, co-op, playing with a myriad of people, you've got that kind of versatility. Mods. So the modding network on this game is insane. There's, again, a million different ways you can mod the game to change the experience and make it something else than what the base game is. It gets points from me from its importance in gaming, as far as the history of gaming. When it came out, it was very much sort of something completely new, and there's so many games that have sort of lent into the type of game it is and stolen different sort of bits and pieces from it, such as the day-night cycle. it's also used now as an educational tool,
Sure is.
which I think is fantastic. Video games in the mainstream and using it, you know, for teaching different things, teamwork, creativity, all sorts of stuff.
Our good friends over at Socializer
That's it,
Gaming
yeah.
are using it as a therapeutic tool.
Absolutely.
So,
So
fantastic.
get sticks there. How about it's accessible to all ages? So kids,
Yeah.
toddlers, teenagers,
Toddlers.
grand people. I don't know. Toddlers, they play video games? Maybe.
Toddlers?
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe.
They're trying to walk.
People, so all age groups. And so I think when you look at all those different things, Minecraft ticks all of those boxes. And for that reason, I think not only is it a fantastic game in regards to day and night cycle, but I reckon there's a very strong case to be made that Minecraft is up there, if not the best, but one of the greatest video games of all time.
Yeah, okay.
Mic drop.
Well, there you go. Minecraft.
And just how good the sun comes up and you sit in your little house, you look out the window and watch all the enemies burn.
Yeah.
I always love that.
Oh, love watching the burn.
Yeah. Creepers and the spiders and the whatnot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not creepy at all. Steely. Favorite game with a day-night cycle?
Yeah, day-night cycles make me licked. I love them. And this game, and I'm going to put a little bit of, because I'm just going to say it, is a sequel. It was the second of the games. The first game, I don't know who first invented the day-night cycle, but I am firm on that this game, that is the sequel of the game that invented the day-night cycle. I'm pretty sure its predecessor invented the day-night cycle. I'm pretty sure. Might not have been, but I'm
Could have
pretty
just
sure.
Googled that beforehand,
Could
but
you
that's
Google
okay.
it?
I'm Googling it for you now, but
First ever day-night cycle in a video game. What is it?
let's see what. Hang on.
Ooh, trying to think.
Nah,
I reckon this would supersede anything I can think of.
nah, I don't. Unless you had an Atari, sweetheart.
No, I didn't have an Atari, so that's fucked. First in my age group that had a day-night
Oh,
cycle.
hang on. Is it Majora's Mask, Zelda?
That was the second. So the first game that had a day-night cycle, I'd say, would be Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. But my favourite with the day-night cycle is Majora's motherfucking Mask. Tell you why. I think the merit of a day night, that was a big preamble to that answer, wasn't it? Sorry. Time's up. I think the biggest telling of a good day night cycle is whether or not there are significant differences or changes between morning and night. Not only in Majora's Mask is there a significant difference between morning or night with that game, but it's day to day there are significant differences, and there's 3 days in which it will always have a day-night cycle that is unique to each day, where characters do different things, and it makes the world feel possibly the most lived for the time as well. It made it feel very much alive, and it made each character matter. And it really just took a big sort of epic game the game is fairly epic, but it always feels kind of really close to home because you can resonate with everybody. And what I really, really enjoyed about it was the fact that there were some, quests to get particular masks that would span the entire day, and you had to do things at a specific time of day. You could follow characters from one part of their journey to the end of their journey, and it would lead to certain missions and things like that playing out. And, I mean, it just does it so well. And I think that to me is why I always go back to really loving that day-night cycle. It's not just day and night and, everyone's drinking in a bar now. It's because it's nighttime. Or, it's that different things happen depending on those scenarios. Like there's only a shop that opens at night time within Clocktown, and there's only certain things that go on, and that's why I love the Majora's Mask day night cycle. And independent of Ocarina of Time, which the day night cycle you could argue only happens in the overworld, and then that day-night cycle is effectively freeze when you enter some specific areas, and whereas in Majora's Mask it's all the time. And that's a big feat to make from one game to another for a game that was developed, I think, within a year. Just fucking unbelievable. Very, very fantastic. So if you've never played Majora's Mask, well, what the bloody fuck are you doing?
Where are ya?
Bloody hell.
Yeah,
Lara Bingle.
no worries. Yeah.
Looks just like her.
Well, I look just like Lara Bingle. Well, I get stopped all the time in Rundle Mall.
See, McLaughlin.
Stop. Yeah, mine.
Favorite game of the day-night cycle.
Oh man.
She's up again.
Oh, this baby. Far out.
With that title.
No.
Nah, our baby girl.
Yeah.
Constantly
Doesn't
waking up
want to
tonight.
slap. No, so I had to think about this one and I totally forgot until I remembered it. Animal Crossing New Horizon.
Wow. Anything like Amiibo Festival?
Oh, just the same, except nothing like it. But
Fucking hell.
what a great game, honestly, and what a unique premise as well. It's in real time. So,
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember
Good
that?
point.
pardon?
I was just saying the best kind of time.
The real time, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was set to your Switch clock. And, yeah, I just remember waiting till night time till the kids go to bed, and then it would go dark at around, I think, 6 o'clock, maybe, around 6 o'clock. And, yeah, it was just different, like, all the shops would close, or people would be asleep, or different types of bugs would show up, or different missions would happen. And, yeah, it was really unique, and it was smart by Nintendo because it made you play for a very, very long time. Because, I have to wait till tomorrow to do this, or it's a 3-day activity or mission that actually took 3 flipping days to do. But that's why we played an embarrassing amount of hours, I think, in that game. Embarrassing.
I mean, we played lots because it was, during COVID, and we only had, one child then. He was only a little baby. And so it was kind of, you had the time to really sink into it. So it was probably the blessing of lockdown was that game, because it was just, like Casey said, it spanned over your days. It kind of gave you something to do.
It was
when
kind
you
of
had
like a
nothing
game to
do.
kind of have in the background. It was kind of weird. We had it on
So
all the time,
calming.
and you just it's just calming. You jumped in, and yeah, it was. I found it so cool, the fact that 10 to 6 o'clock on your watch, and all of a sudden the game was nighttime, and you could jump in. I don't know, if you woke up at 2 a.m, jump in, and you could still do nighttime stuff. Kind of cool.
And FYI for anybody playing at home, and also for the other mengers of the DBGs, of the DG crew, that's been a staple of the Animal Crossing series since its
New Leaf?
birth in Japan on Nintendo 64. The day
Has it really? I
cycle
thought it was
being
since New-
attached to
Oh,
to the actual
Clock.
to the real time. So lick that before you slip it.
I just found it really unique. It's probably not my favorite, but I just found it the most kind of unique experience with the day-night cycle that I've never come across before, because I've never played a game like that before. Sims also had like day-night cycles as well, but that was like very hectic because I used to play on fast forward. Why? Always. As fast as you can. Oh, you have to. I want to watch someone.
I'm with you on that one, C-Mate. I loved Animal Crossing, but I'm a huge fan of the day-night cycle, which is tied and linked to the actual time. I want to give
What
a
other
mention-
games do it?
Well, I want to give an honourable mention to Pokemon Silver and Pokemon Gold, which
That does it too.
so that came back in I don't know, late 90s, 2000 or something, and it was the same thing. So
Yeah.
you would play during the day, and there'd be particular Pokemon you could catch. Then at night time, you'd go back to the same spot and catch different Pokemon. And I just remember at the time just being like, "This is unbelievable." I
Wow.
wish there were more games that had the
Yeah.
cycle tied to the game. And I get why they don't do it, and a lot of people hate them because they
Frustrating and
like, well, I can only play my PlayStation at 9 o'clock to midnight every single night. I never get a chance to play during the day, so I'm at a disadvantage if there's
Yeah.
benefit for either or. But I don't know, it's that immersion thing which I just love. You know, it's cool to be. It's night time when I look out the window. It's night time in my game, and yeah.
It was a weird. It was just a cartoony kind of game, but it was really calming and really lovely. It kind of felt like during a time where it was very stressful in the world.
I forgot all about Pokemon Gold and
I
Silver.
forgot about that too.
Those games are fucking legit. Talk about
Lots of
licking something
swears.
before you slip it. Runk into my Game Boy. Yum yums forever and a day.
Don't lick your cartridges.
That's still
please.
the best Pokemon game, hands down. Fuck all this other bullshit. Scarlet and Violet can suck it up their big tanker wankers. It's Pokemon Gold and Silver all the way. First Pokemon I had. It was legit.
Fantastic. Well, for mine, I'm going to give a dishonourable mention first off to Skyrim/Oblivion. And I give a dishonourable mention because these games were just so annoying when you got to a particular town and you wanted to go and speak to someone and they're lying in bed and then you have to go and wake them up and then they have to roll over and sit up and then stand up and then they can start talking to you. Really, really bloody annoying. So
go and sit on a chair,
dishonourable mention. We've got a comment that's come on our stream at the moment, and Pokemon Gold Silver built on the with the weekly cycle where certain trainers and gyms would only appear on certain days.
Ah.
Takes the whole day-night cycle to a whole nother level. So,
I love this user saying, then the internal battery dies and the cartridge shits the bed. Thank you for saying shit the bed and not leaving me to be the only one that says it on this podcast.
Because you're teaching. You're a teacher.
I have beholden the shit the bed onto you.
but
thank you.
I'm going to say, like, obviously there's so many games that you could mention in this regard. But I'm going to specifically call out Cyberpunk 2077. And the reason being, like, it's for an open world game, CD Projekt Red really have done a great job at making this city feel lived in, gritty, made it feel alive. And it feels like most of the cool shit that happens during the city all happens at night. I mean, I'm assuming that's deliberate because they wanted to call it Night City and everything. But it's like during the daytime, like it's like you almost feel like you're hungover each day. You're sort of getting over whatever you've done the previous night, going around buying new weapons, buying new implants. You know, just sort of doing all the sort of maintenance on your character. You know, during the day when there's fuck all going on, and then nighttime rocks around. And it's like, oh yeah, you got to meet at this nightclub at 3 a.m. to meet up with this character who's going to give you a mission. Then you go out and you do some sort of robbery in the middle of the night. And like just being there at night when the city's like pumping, there's just people everywhere. Like it really is quite an exciting experience. And then in the daytime when everyone's just sort of like mulling around doing fuck all and everything, completely different feeling to the game. Like, and so they just do such a great job of capturing both sides of that experience where during the day there's nothing going on and you feel different to when it's nighttime and everything's happening and there's just so much going on in that game. So
and what a great city at nighttime as well. Like phenomenal.
With all the neon lights coming on and you know just just all the randoms getting out and about and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, that's one thing. I always remember the Grand Theft Auto games to be similar as well, having a really good day-night cycle, and then the changes that you would experience at nighttime versus during the day. Like you think, you know, Vice City, same thing. The nightclubs are popping off, and again, missions that are based around, you know, the day-night cycle and stuff like that. Yeah, always super well done.
Yeah, love it. Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of the Discerning Gamer podcast for another week. I'd like to start by thanking the DG crew, starting with Fergamon Hamilton.
Thanks, JB.
Thank
Always
you,
a
Ferg. I'll better give you the applause.
Cut him off.
Always a pleasure, mate.
And Simon Steely McLaughlin, the gaming chef. Thank you.
Thank you. I will cook you some pixelated bacon. And Joel, can I just say, shame on you tonight for making the Harry Potter theme the fucking theme for whatever we talked about earlier on in the piece. Shame on you, Joel.
He's still thinking about that.
Still thinking about it. What was it for?
Warhammer.
Warhammer. That's not the theme, Joel.
We'll get some chainsword sound bites rigged up.
Chainsword.
Yeah, long live the chainsword.
You big
And
slut.
Last but certainly not least, Casey, C-Mac, Pistol Pete, the Pissed. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, no.
You
Thanks.
can stay.
No, thank you.
No, you can stay here
Oh, okay.
tonight.
No, thank
We'll
you.
see you next week.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
See ya. Bye.
Yeah. No, bye everyone. No, we will see you next week. I'm pretty sure we will anyway. But just Nova Paris knee bone, no affiliation to your knee and your foot bone connected to the knee bone, not affiliated. Nova Paris was I think a Commonwealth medalist athlete, maybe not, maybe Olympic athlete. I actually don't know. I just know that she was a part of that time period. Nova.